Yeah, it's rewind time.
According to the Urban Dictionary, a diss track is a rap song with the sole purpose of dissing another rapper. Diss tracks are normally considered to be a very serious thing because it's usually big rappers, big organizations involved. But with YouTubers, it's kind of the complete opposite. Nobody was taking it serious. Rice Gum was one of the first rappers to get into the diss track game due to him and Jacob Sartorius having beef. It was lightly hearted beef. It was just kind of goofing off. But then him and Gabby Hanna had actual beef, which really started the diss track era of YouTube. So now that we know when it started, let's find out why it started. So Rice Gum and Gabby Hanna's beef started because Gabby Hanna accused Rice Gum, never been confirmed or denied as of today that I've done my research, is that Rice Gum threw Gabby's phone and made it cracked while they were at a house party, and it was a whole thing. It was very stupid on both sides because they were not very professional about it. But Rice Gum did release a diss track in which Gabby didn't respond. She just did her own thing by doing it. I'm pretty sure it was a YouTube video. She just responded in a YouTube form versus a song form. That was in 2016, so that was the predecessor to all of the diss tracks that we're about to go over. So the first diss track, the most popular one, is It's Everyday Bro by Jake Paul featuring Team 10. Yes, It's Everyday Bro is considered a diss track due to the fact of Jake Paul calling out Alyssa Violet for still hitting his line after they broke up, wanting to come back.
But you still hit my phone last night. It was 4:52 and I got the text approved and all the recordings too.
Which in return caused Rice Gum to get involved because Alyssa Violet left him and joined the Clout House, which Rice Gum lived in. It's Every Night Sis was Rice Gum and Alyssa Violet's actual diss track towards Jake Paul after he hid a diss into Everyday Bro, which makes Every Night Sis in general a better diss track because it is an actual diss track. It wasn't just a line hidden, just a throw-in line. They actually aimed to go for his everything.
Heard you used to bully kids back in high school. Second part for the kill, that's what Rice do. Hit it twice, this the insta, I don't like you. Gotta put this rice in this beef like some Thai food. You ain't got no bars, no flow like a lake do. Rented cars in that really looking fake too.
His like Team 10, his whole dignity. So we also got a little bit more insight on potentially on how or why Alyssa Violet got kicked out of Jake Paul's house, which has also helped with the Logan Paul Fall of Jake Paul diss track. The rise of Jake Paul featuring Right Don't We is in retaliation to Jake Paul's quote-unquote diss track, but in the music video it says that it's not a diss track. It's confusing. So Logan Paul actually disses Jake. It's kind of the same type stuff from Every Night Sis, but this lets us know with the second verse that Logan Paul and Alyssa Violet definitely had some interaction that did not make Jake happy, which could have been the cause on why she got kicked out and or left Team 10, but has not been confirmed to this day. But Logan Paul in 2017 was a different breed. Even in this song, he wanted to advertise his merch because he was making money. And speaking of making money, KSI was one of the biggest earners back in 2016/2017 due to him restarting music, coming back from his hiatus, and starting to get into his boxing game. And he decided to leave the Sidemen in 2017 and decided to make a little diss track, which wasn't really a diss track. It was primarily just a diss on one of the Sidemen called Ethan, or also known as Bazinga. And this is whenever Bazinga was really big of a human being, and KSI really banged it into his head like, you're humongous, like you need to not be humongous.
Ethan looking bigger, I can see them.
So it was just kind of weird of a diss track, but this led Ethan into making a diss track the very next day. So also none of the Sidemen knew about this happening, so it was kind of fake and kind of not at the same time. KSI was not expecting Ethan to respond, but whenever he did, he kind of did poke at the bear, quote unquote, as Dylan Brooks said, poke the bear. And poking a bear, Ethan did. Ethan decided to drop a diss track called Drama, which is rightfully named due to the fact of KSI starting drama with one of his old friends and one of his old members of the Sidemen. So Ethan's diss track is kind of very straight to the point. He doesn't lollygag like the other ones. It's really realistically like Every Night Sis. It's a dedicated diss track, but it's dedicated to one person or onto one person. And it really makes it seem like this has been planned when in reality it definitely wasn't, and it's really funny, honestly.
I never thought I'd see the day when one of the biggest channels would fade away, and by fade away I don't mean fade away.
But Zynga at this time was one of the smaller channels, so whenever he dissed a bigger channel that was in the same friend group, it really got the attention of every drama-based YouTube channel, especially Drama Alert. Keemstar was really into it for some odd reason. He was somehow brought in, and honestly, he poked a bear, but Harry slapped a bear. Harry, or also known as W2S, was not brought into this directly. He was by KSI saying that he didn't want to be in the Sidemen anymore. But he dissed Ricegum also because it seemed like KSI left the Sidemen to go be part of the Clout House, and all the Sidemen kind of didn't really like that because he looked like he was a clout chaser. Because he was going to the Clout House, they were getting more views than the Sidemen. But Harry's diss track is considered to be one of the best diss tracks because it is very thought out. He knew a lot of information about both of the people, so it's better than Every Night Sis and Drama. So if we had to do it in like a tier list, this is definitely S tier because he brought up so many valid points, and he actually made everybody involved. Like Rose Battle, he's demolishing everyone, and he did demolish everyone, as you can see by the views.
Get started on Why Your Life's Peak. Tommy Gunn got 2 mil views in 3 weeks, which means 40 million people didn't click it.
See, the thing that makes Harry's diss track even better was because nobody was expecting it due to him not being directly called out. And there was a specific reason that he wasn't called out, because they knew that he knew a lot of stuff about a lot of different people, and that he would actually make it known that he knew and was gonna make a song, because Harry's that type of person that keeps to himself unless need be he speaks his mind. So this whole diss track is a whole different experience. But somebody that decided to do a diss track for absolutely no reason was KSI's brother. Deji, being KSI's brother, decided to make a diss track on the group that his brother just left. If we're still going with the tier list aspect of diss tracks, this is going into F tier. Because if you think about it, all of his disses are just very face value disses.
Hey, you're not a doctor! You are your parents' disgrace!
It's nothing crazy. It's not like, oh, your girlfriend got with me before you. It's just like, ha, your merch is bad, your views are down. And it's just very not good because his delivery is also not good. You can tell that he's trying too hard, but Deji wasn't expecting anyone to respond, which is kind of funny because he knew that he dissed a 6-person group, knowing good and well at least one of them would respond, and lucky for him, 2 of them responded. Mini Mentor hit Deji with a very low blow, which is very funny because Deji tried to do the exact same thing, but his part of the diss track for the Sidemen diss track, he just talked about how Mini Mentor had white hair because they grew up together. Him, JJ, and Deji all grew up together. They all went to the same primary school and everything like that. Mini Mentor kind of is the same aspect as Harry with Ricegum and KSI. He knows a lot of stuff about Deji that Deji didn't think that he would reveal, but Mini Mentor did not care, or Simon as he's also known, did not care. So he lets the viewers know a lot of different things, and it's very much of a very good diss track, as you can tell by the views earlier shown in this portion of the video. It is very widely known that this is an actual diss track. This is one of the best diss tracks out of all of these, and one of the most viewed diss tracks out of all of them also. So it really begs the question on why he didn't hop on the Randolph diss track, because this diss track was very good. Randolph is a producer, but it kind of seems like he didn't want to. And it's really funny because Simon goes for his channel, and it's just one of the best disses because he disses everything about him that none of the viewers expected.
Shouldn't it be your dad that I diss? I mean, the channel is pretty much his, and bro, I just gotta ask, are they your vids or your dad's vids?
Oh man.
Simon was very smart to go after Deji in comparison to KSI, because everyone that watched the Sidemen knew that KSI and Simon were besties outside of hanging out with the Sidemen. They actually lived together after this, so that kind of proves that they were best friends. But dealing with Deji, it was kind of iffy. Nobody really knew that they were best friends outside of hanging out with Sidemen. And Simon also played into it a little bit more than everybody else did. He kind of did a fourth wall break with reactions because everyone was reacting to them, getting millions of views. Some of them were getting more views than others. Speaking of getting more views, JJ's diss track called Little Boy is one of the most hard-hitting diss tracks that has ever been made, because Harry's diss track was hard-hitting, but his rebuttal was probably harder hitting than that one, and that one itself was already hitting hard, but this one really made it seem, oh wait, this is actually a real beef, because the viewers would never expect this to happen if it was a fake beef. Like fake beefs today, this would never happen. It would be like littler stuff.
You ain't part of this group. Nah. You ain't Sidemen, you gook. Nah. Decided when to be a Sideman while you're too busy faking all
the thing that really makes this diss track better than the other one that he did is because you could actually tell, and he actually came out and said this publicly, that he was pissed whenever he actually heard the W2S diss track, and he had to make sure that everyone knew that the rapper, the so-called rapper, was an actual rapper. He had to prove himself to himself, because he thought that if Harry could make that, he had to at least one up him. And in my opinion, he really didn't really one up him, but the disses are very good. And one that is not really good diss track, but it's kind of funny, is the next one. Vic was the second person that dissed Deji, and his diss track was widely known as just a haha funny. Oh, he really did like respond, because nobody expected Vic to respond, but he did it in the most Vic way possible by playing into the joke that he would never respond and kind of just taking it in a goofy way. But he kind of did throw in some disses here and there. It was kind of like, this one is just a good time. You can kind of tell that he was just having fun with it. The disses were very face value, but you could tell that he wasn't trying as hard, so it was better than Deji's diss. And some of the disses, honestly, were better than KSI's and Mini Minner's, and it just really is mind-blowing that him goofing off is better than Deji.
Me and you will never be comparable. You left school with 2 D's. I can take your girl in 1, 2, 3.
I think the reason that this holds such a special place in my heart is because this is one of the few times that we hear Vic actually rap other than his Minecraft parody. So Vic was one of the last ones to respond during this era because KSI came back because his green card ran out. And it's very funny on how this all happened within a 6-month span. But diss tracks did keep on happening, but the one that we're going to end off with is ones that happened 2 years later. The final time frame of diss tracks that we will be going over is the boxing diss tracks based on Logan Paul and KSI boxing each other for the second time. So KSI decided to do this just to do a throwback on how he used to be, and really plays into the viewers' minds. It's like, you remember how bad of a person this is? So it really is a good thing and a bad thing at the same time. Because overall, it's an okay diss track. It's a very long diss track. He put in a lot of time and effort for this odd reason, which doesn't make any sense because he's getting ready for a fight. But the disses were very much there, especially on the actors that was chosen. But the lyricism wasn't all there because it's very face value points and stuff like that. So it can definitely be improved on, but for it to be in such a small time frame, it's very well.
Married to the letter L. No, I'm coming when you hear that bell.
The final diss track that we'll be talking about is Logan Paul on KSI, which actually features KSI, which is very creative on Logan Paul's part because Logan had very few time. He was actually in London while filming the diss track. That's how close the boxing match was to the diss track, and it's very mind-blowing that he did such a good one in that such short of time. I'm comparing it to Deji's because Deji is the worst diss track that we have talked about today, and it is probably actually Logan Paul's best diss track. It's better than The Fall of Jake Paul because he actually took it more serious than everything else. And it's really funny because he plays into the idea of KSI thinking that he's the best, and he really puts that into the viewer's mind, and then he strips it straight down and makes it so, nah, yeah, if you think that, you're stupid kind of type beat.
You're chilling with dudes cause you're a woman's worst nightmare. This hit harder than a pistol.
Knowing what we know now, it's kind of ironic because Logan Paul did lose, and all of these diss tracks have kind of led to nothing. None of these people have long-lasting beef except for maybe KSI and Jake Paul. Logan Paul and KSI, besties, they own Prime. KSI joined the Sidemen back up. Rice Gum is doing his own thing on Kick. He probably still has beef with Jake Paul because Jake Paul holds on to things. But I mean, it's a wild experience thinking about 2017 diss tracks. And if you were to think about it nowadays, if something like this was to happen, somebody would be canceled, something horrible. Somebody would be off the internet for the rest of their lives, essentially, because they try to redo this again with the stupid TikTok diss tracks, but those didn't work because they weren't even good. So I mean, there were a lot of diss tracks in this era, but those were the most impacting ones to the YouTube aspect. So hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. Make sure to like, subscribe, and I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.